people, there's apprentices who've given me feedback and said that you know, they spray at 40 psi or 45 psi, which is fine. Okay, so once we're happy with that, now what has to happen here has to register its location to the actual sensor. So you put the thing on, you point it at it, so you're facing it, pull the trigger. Okay, so that's registering the location on it. Now, if that was done wrong, which has happened, if that was done wrong where someone stands like that, when you go into it, everything is off on it. You're looking and it's in the wrong place. Now, I'm going to just switch the view, so I can switch the view on the control here to that. Okay, so what you're doing is now you're outside of the person looking at what they're doing, and if I switch it into that, you're seeing what the camera inside this is seeing. Okay, now there's just one little thing I have to do to get it started. There's a kind of a health and safety thing that goes on inside it, and you have to stare at it. Now, I don't know if you've done the VR spraying before, anybody, or done VR stuff. I find it slightly disconcerting, so I wouldn't be too keen to jump in and put this on me. I find I'm a bit dizzy, and I say to the students and the apprentices when they're here, if you've done it before and you find it a little bit like that, it's no problem if you don't do it. And several of them won't. In that last group, several of them didn't do it, which is absolutely fine. Glasses don't work too well in it, so if someone's wearing glasses, it doesn't work too well. Okay, so I'm going to demo it in my hand because I will be dizzy. I think I have inner ear issues on it, but I'll show you the worker's view so you get to see what I'm talking about. One of the great aspects of this, in terms of a teaching aid, great aspects of it as a teaching aid is that in spraying, one of the biggest problems is the waste of materials that occurs. If you take it that a conventional spray system has a transfer efficiency of about 55%, conventional compressed air receiver, about 55%. HVLP under optimum conditions would get about 85%. That's a huge savings, right? And the material is expensive, so if you can minimize waste, and what this helps to do is train them to minimize waste, because one of the biggest wastes of material is that when someone is spraying, they don't trigger as they're spraying. They just pull the trigger and they go like this with the gun. Okay? We've got them down into the spray booth and they do stuff like that. This is triggering. I'll demonstrate triggering. You're coming onto the board. You come onto the board, and as you come onto the board, you pull the trigger. As you leave the board, you release the trigger. As you come on, so this is what triggering looks like. That's triggering. The other big problem is arcing the gun. And we'll see that in a second when someone is demoing this. We always arc the gun. It's almost the way we're made. And what that means is the gun is going to swing. It's going to swing. It'll probably swing left to right in an arc like so. And when people are doing up and down, it will also work. And this is one of the great things about this. It'll show us feedback on that, on the arcing on it. This is quite good in the sense that you can actually change the air horns on it, and it changes the air horns there. Air horns dictate the direction of your pass. So when our air horns are sitting down flat, we're going left to right, and when they're vertical, we're going up and down. Now with a gun like this on a pressure system, you don't need to change the air horn because you can simply change the gun. That's the great advantage of a pressure system. Gravity pots maybe not so much. Now, let's imagine then that someone is after spraying that, and this is one of the great things about this, is the feedback that you get from, or the feedback that you can give to them on it. So, we'll go into the analysis first. Let's have a look at my lines, and this is where you demonstrate arcing of the gun, where most people are convinced they're not. The instruction is to keep the gun perpendicular to the substrate. That maximizes the transfer efficiency, minimizes waste, and also puts on a proper coating of paint. So when we show this to apprentices when we're training them, they do be a little bit shocked by that to see how much they are to go on, and then we kind of explain to them, you know, there's a point of that which is perfect. You're getting the transfer of the maximum part of your fan pattern onto the substrate, but as soon as you pass that point and the gun is pointing that way, you're losing an awful lot of it. It's going over that way, or it's not landing on the substrate. So it's very good for that. And we get them to cross hatches, so like that, we get them to go left to right and up and down, which is good practice anyway. So you can show them like that. Now, here's the other thing, let me just get rid of that. We get rid of that. This is why I do it in this colour, because what this system does is, it gives you colour-coded feedback on it. Okay? So green is good. Green means that the system has picked up that you have put on a nice coat of paint at that point. Red is too much paint, so you've done too much. That was at the start when I was just going like that. And then blue is not enough paint has gone on there. So you can say that that as a coating, that wouldn't be great because we've actually got the three degrees of it. Too much, just enough, and not enough. Now what we tend to do then with the apprentices, when we're showing them this, is to try to keep their interest in it. It gives you a score. So first person comes up, they're doing it, and I say, look, it's not a competition, but it gives you a score. Now we're not keeping the score, but let's just have a look at the score as we're going through, that type of thing. And where some people don't be interested in it, they then take great interest in it. So we focus on the overall score of 29 because we haven't really got the tools to break that down in terms of what it's giving you. I'll talk about, I'm going to mention somebody else, so that's okay. We had Stephen from car body repair, vehicle body repair. Stephen and Jay had a look at this, and they were absolutely, the information that you're getting back there would be crucial to them when they're spraying cars. Whereas for us, when we're spraying with a HVLP, it's usually pieces of furniture, or it's doors, or it's wardrobes, or it's media units. You get the feedback on the spot in terms of the visuals of what you're doing. But when they're spraying cars, the film build, all of this type of thing, that's what they're, see mill build, so how much paint are you putting on, that's the type of thing that they're really interested in. And I have no doubt that this can do more of that, it's just we haven't plugged into it. Okay? So we keep the score, let the next one come up, have a go of it, we do the panel, and then we probably do something a little bit more difficult, because now that gets rid of it, then we get rid of that. That gets rid of it, and we go back again. So the next project we do with them, we tend to do the head of the bed, because there's a curve on it. Because you're trying to tell them about keeping the gun perpendicular to the substrate, and when there's a curve there, you have to maintain that angle. So you're trying to get them to do that. Now, one of the limitations, of course, of this is the weight of the gun in your hand. You're not getting any real feedback from that. And it can be difficult to judge the distance once you put the headset on. It can be difficult to see where you are in terms of the distance, whereas if you were in a spray booth, you know straight away 6 to 8 inches of your distance. You can see what that is. And if you're not sure, you can measure it. And you also get that feedback of immediately seeing if too much is going on. But before you put people in a spray booth or in a real life situation, this is a great thing to get them going, get them thinking of that triggering element of it, and then your angles, getting the angles right. Okay? Right. Do you want to have a go? Alan, do you want to have a go?
Okay.
Yeah, there's a little, you can tighten this on the stripe, there's an element of being able to tighten it. That does a kind of a little bit of a focus, you know, if it's a little bit off, and you're going to pull it from the back to the front, then you're going to have to do a bit of adjustment on this as well, because it's starting to, you can see where it's starting to go. It's got a good bit of use. Now I'm going to switch for us to the workers view, so we can see what Alan is seeing. Okay, now Alan, if you want to step forward, I'm going to pass my hand on yours, just step forward there. Now I'm going to put the gun in your hand. Now, just to say to you then that the air horns are from left to right, which means you can go left to right and then turn the gun perpendicular and you can go up and down on it. Okay? Give it a go.
So it's showing me the real time.
Yeah, that's why I'm getting rid of it now. We don't want you to get any tips or tricks. You turn the gun like that. Yeah, that's good. Good. I think someone did this before. Now have a look around when you're in there, Anna, so we can see what you can see then.
Yeah, so it's like a factory, all different parts and robots.
Yeah, and you can change that background on that. Now, if you want, I'll take the gun, and then you take that off. Just pop it up there. Now, let me just show you that, and I'll go back to the painting view. So again, when we're doing the analysis, we have a look at the lines. And one of the things that we teach in terms of teaching this is efficiencies and the passes that you're making. If you're spraying all day long, you do not want to be doing 10 passes where 6 passes would do. Think of the wear and tear on it. So one of the things in this is showing them stuff like that, so that it's not like a jigsaw that you're doing your passes. It's not bad. You're actually going in a steady line from next to it. See the blue line? You're going in a steady line. So it's not spinning around. Yeah, we look at it like that. That's very straight. Look at this fella.
What can I say?
We get rid of the lines. And let me see. So just torque to 2.
Out of?
100.
It's not even a pass there.
And there's your. That's red is too much, and green is good. Now, see, interestingly, see the little blue line? So it's a recessed panel, so you never turn the gun to go, and neither do the apprentices. They don't turn the gun to go there, and they don't go up, and they don't go down, and they don't go in. You know, so then they get to see what that's like. Okay?
That's great.
All right, it's not bad. It does keep their interest. They are interested in it. When you have 16, say, sitting in front of you, and you have the one machine, it does. The energy tends to flag a little bit in the room because the time it takes you to get around. That's why you're doing the smaller panel first, and then doing the head of the bed, because you're kind of capturing them in with that, and then they'll want another go. You know. And once the score comes into it, people start getting a little bit competitive on it.
Oh yeah, the score definitely.
Absolutely.
It keeps the interest there, because I've often been here and you've had 16 lads.
Yeah.
And they're waiting and waiting to make sure they beat the next person's score.
Yeah. Yeah. So I have to say, as a teaching tool, I find this great, and like we're going to have to get that's coming off that. We're going to have to get that sorted. At one stage, I thought the screen was gone, but it turned out only to be a connection on it, which was good. So what we tend to do with our paint and decorating apprentices is, first thing they do is the VR spraying before we let them near the spray booth, so that they have it in their head. You've shown them visually, colour coded and everything, so that they see it. I can stand in front of them and say, you know, don't do that. But when you see the lines like that, and they know that they've been doing it, it's great for them when you do it.
And you mentioned the different projects, so does the level of training increase as the user improves?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. As they get better, we give more challenging projects. It's what you have to do. And there are plenty to choose from there. There's a great one there, which was a half, it's a piece of metal, but it's a round piece of metal. That's very challenging because you have to maintain the angle of the gun going around.
So sustainability, in regards to sustainability, the VR is a huge saver.
Huge saver. If you think of the materials we've saved by doing this first before going into the spray booth, I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt, I've seen those efficiencies. Because you're not saying to people, release the trigger, keep it perpendicular to the board. You know, you're not saying that because they've already done it here. So you're hitting the ground running by using this before you go in and use the real thing.
And eventually over time the VR would pay for itself by savings.
I would probably hazard a guess it probably has paid for itself at this stage. 6 years, say 2 years out, 4 years, 3 groups per term, would manufacture and finish it? Yeah. yeah, painters and wood manufacturing division, yeah, I would say it has. Yeah.
And how accurate then would the simulation of the paint flow, overspray, to trigger sensitivity, all that be in comparison to
Now,
real stuff?
Yeah, the trigger sensitivity wouldn't be great because you're not getting the full effect of the full spring that you get on a gun. And various guns are different. You gravity feed, siphon or suction feed. You're not getting it there. Visually though, the colour that we use in it means that you get to see the overspray. So that's really good, that you can get to see the overspray as you're doing it. So as a visual aid, I think that's very good, yeah.
And in regards to maintenance, since you've purchased the machine, there's been very little maintenance on the
Yeah.
6 years.
Yeah, no, I honestly, I thought the screen was going on and it turned out that it was just a connection that had come loose down here. There's an awful lot of connections in the back of it, but it turned out that it was just a connection. What's happening with it now is you can see a little bit of that foam is just coming loose on it, so we might have to do something about the foam. But other than that, no, it keeps going,
And when I was using the VR, when I was looking around, I can use that in different simulations and different type of environments.
Yeah, so that's a very modern one. I think there's 5 or 6 to choose from. So you can do it in a different environment, yeah, absolutely. And to be honest, that it may sound like, what's the point of that? It does keep their interest. When you change that environment, a lot of them, when they put it on first, will spend a bit of time looking around. And there's one of them that's like on a barge of a boat, and there's boats going by in the background and seagulls, and you see the sea moving. And that even captures their interest when they're looking at it, and then they're putting it on. And we make the joke saying, don't spray the seagulls in the background type of thing. But it does, that variation that you're getting is important. We know it's important. When you have 16 apprentices, or whoever it is, even the primary school kids that came in, the changing of the location really kept their interest going in it. So it is very useful.